The expanding middle class towards the end of the 18th century or the beginning of the 19th century resulted in a golden age for the fortepiano, where every self-respecting household had one. As there were no PlayStations, people spent rather more time practicing, which meant that they were rather better at playing music. This meant that living room concerts were actually fun, and these gatherings were also a great social event. What really attracts me to the concept is being able to hear great music in an unpretentious environment. All kinds of music would have been played, especially focusing around the piano. It could have been duos, trios, quartets. But what we might find slightly more unusual today with CDs and Spotify available are the transcriptions of orchestral works that were made specifically for these living room gatherings. These were made because not everyone would have had the opportunity to go to see symphonies all the time, and this was a way of hearing them and playing them. Today's concert halls are very big, and there's something of a barrier between the musician and the audience. In a smaller setting, you have the opportunity to make it a more intimate experience, in addition to not necessarily forcing your audience to sit still for long periods of time.
The thing that we love about the salon music concept is that we're able to take well-known, much-loved works and perform them with a fresh twist, a new twist, a fresh perspective on them in a way that is also deeply rooted in historical tradition, historical performance practice. And we just love this repertoire, and we just want to showcase it in a way that people haven't experienced it before today, but in a way that was really widely experienced at the time when these works were new. It definitely influences the way that we can share the music with our audiences, because for a start, we're often performing in more intimate venues, smaller, more intimate venues, and that means we can connect with the audience a bit more than, you know, when we see large symphonies performed in large concert halls. And it also means that we can take our music out to more local venues. We can share live music with a wider audience. We can share these pieces that were conceived in such a grand scale with people on a smaller scale. And in the time at the moment with the global pandemic, we think that that could be something that's really useful, and it might be something that evolves because of the way that things are changing at the moment. We might be able to look back to this historical performance practice and bring it into its own today. So already that's another way we can change how audiences are interacting with live music, I think. And the other way that it changes the way we interact with the audience, I think, is because we're able to put a chamber music spin on this music. We're able to play it with more spontaneity. We're able to add in elements of improvisation, which was a very common practice when these pieces were being written and when they were new. And I'm sure in people's homes and in the salons that loads of people would have been playing around with the music and improvising, and that would have been expected, and everyone would have found it incredibly exciting. So we hope that our audiences find what we do really exciting, engaging, fresh, and just a new perspective on pieces that they know and they love.
We started playing together in this combination because we wanted to learn Hummel's versions of Mozart's orchestral works. So we had an overture, a concerto and a symphony which we learnt together, and we just really clicked musically and found each other really inspiring and fun to play with, and also just loved the concept of this miniaturization of orchestral music and transforming it into something new and expressive, where we could be really spontaneous and shine a different light on these really well-known pieces of music. After that, we realised we could expand the genre to include both earlier and later music and began making our own transcriptions. We find this combination really effective because, of course, we've got the bass of the orchestra and the cello, but also the top player and the flute, which gives this brilliant sheen and gives the vertical effect of the score that you get in orchestra, with the piano adding the depth with the sheer number of notes it can play at once. The piano also has an inherent directness and brilliance that mimics that of brass instruments, and as the violinist I'm often providing a lot of the texture, particularly those motor rhythms that you get in the second violins and violas in classical symphonies. But for us, the most fantastic thing about performing as 4 people rather than a full orchestra is that we have a new flexibility and we're able to be completely spontaneous together and shape lines in a new way every time, and in a way that's very clearly audible, as the details become very clear when there are only 4 people playing. A great benefit of arranging our own music is that we get to choose all our repertoire and exclusively perform music that we're really passionate about and absolutely burning to play together, and that we think will work particularly well in this chamber music format. So that's often music that's really rich in counter melodies, because we find that when you're performing orchestral works as a 4, the soloistic nature inherent to that really draws attention to the counter melodies and details and texture that you may not hear in the same way when you're hearing a full orchestra perform it. We've since arranged a large number of works, including both orchestral works and operas spanning 3 centuries. It was really interesting working on this Midsummer Night's Dream arrangement because Mendelssohn made his own arrangement for 2 pianos with very different textures from that in the orchestral score, and it was brilliant for me to be able to see his methods of doing that and to be able to incorporate them into our own arrangement.
First of all, we'd just love to play the repertoire we were meant to be performing in our 2020 season, which hopefully will be postponed to 2021, lots of the concerts. But we were due to be performing our own new transcription of Mozart's Così fan tutte. We were meant to be performing that quite a number of times, and also the whole, not just Mendelssohn's overture to the Midsummer Night's Dream, but the whole incidental music as well, which again is sitting there having been arranged, and we're just dying to play it because it's just such great music. We also just started, we just played one of the Haydn symphonies arranged by Muzio Clementi, and we were hoping to explore more of those, more of his transcriptions for our combination, as well as doing Beethoven 5 as well as Beethoven 6 as arranged by Hummel, and looking into lots of other Hummel arrangements as well of Mozart and Beethoven. I think that's all. Obviously, we also had ideas of doing some Schubert as well, which we just love, so he's definitely on our list of things to play next as well.